30 minutes. It's going to go nice and quick. We're going to do really, really well. And this is very exciting. I'm really excited we're doing this.
Yes,
so,
me too.
hello and welcome to Two Cups. I always shout. I don't know why I do this. Do you know, this is the worst. This is actually the worst bit. Out of all of it, I'm fine. It's just this bit. And I
overthink it.
Do you know how many times I'm stood in that bathroom going, hello and welcome to Two Cups of Tea with me, Glass. Hi, it's Glass. Hi. It comes to it, can't do it. Hi. Hi. Anyway. Okay, we'll go again.
Yeah.
Right. 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to Two Cups of Tea with me, Gloss. I'm here with Paige, who is my really good friend. I thought it'd be quite nice, actually, for you guys to come on our journey. We're going to be talking nutrition. We are going to be talking weight loss. I don't want anybody to feel triggered. So if this is a topic that is very triggering for you, then maybe this is not your episode, and that's okay. However, we're coming from a place of two very empowering females that have been on a really, really great weight loss journey. So I'd still like you to listen if you'd like to. Do you want to, shall we show our befores?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is mine and Paige's befores. And shall we just do our current?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Absolutely.
And this is us currently. I actually feel really proud just doing that in itself, don't you?
It's so nice having it actually on paper and like there.
Yeah, just to kind of like show hi. Yes, we have done that. Also, just going to disclaim to you, we're not drinking tea or coffee because Paige doesn't like that. Somebody's a bit bougie and had to have a hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate all the way.
I really hope nobody else is going to watch these episodes and then come to me and be like, yeah, I would like hot chocolate too.
Starting a trend.
To do it with my bourbons. Jesus. So let's go back because I think our super fans need a bit of context. So Paige and I met at the gym.
Yeah.
Became very good friends. I think I just chatted you to death, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Yep. Loved it. I was swept in the whole glossy. Yeah, everything. I loved it.
Just come be my friend.
Yeah, take me under your wing.
Oh, I love you. And I feel like we were similar maybe in sort of where we were at with fitness, no?
Definitely.
Very, very new to it. Probably a bit scared, would you say?
Absolutely.
Overwhelmed. Yeah. And I think probably a little bit insecure, you know, we're not the size that we were. And I think when you're coming into a gym, into that sort of environment, it can feel quite daunting when you are bigger.
No, absolutely. Completely.
Yeah,
because especially when you've come from very little experience in those kind of environments and you kind of walk in and everyone knows exactly what they're doing and they know where everything is and who everyone is as well, because it's such a community kind of gym. It's very easy to just kind of stand there in the corner and be like, I don't really want to be here.
Hide.
Having friends that kind of welcome you in and cheer you on and stuff is so important, I think.
And also sometimes it's actually nice starting at a similar level. I mean, coming from sort of background of, you know, when I was younger, I mean, I've always been bigger, okay? There's no two ways about it. You're going to look at me now and think, well, you're not that big now. No. But, you know, I was always a big child. Through secondary school, I wanted to be one of the pretty fit, athletic, popular girls. So I started running and I would go running for miles and miles and miles. The weight did fall off, but then that sort of came with that, you know, I would undereat, I would always be hungry. And then I think I went through my 20s sort of similar, running. Then I'd put on weight. Then I tried CrossFit. During lockdown, I did a banting diet, which is similar to keto, but it's you know, good fats. So all of these things were just not sustainable.
And I think that's the thing. There's so many things out there that kind of are put out to people to try as these fad diets and these fad things to get the weight off quick. When, like I say, it's just not sustainable. And so it's just no one ever really seems to continue getting on with it.
No.
Really.
And I wonder if that's why, do you think that's why people yo-yo? Because they try one thing, it works for a little while, and then they try another.
Massively. Yeah, 100%. And I think that's the biggest thing, like defining thing, I think, in my journey is finding something that I can stick to and be consistent with for over a very long period of time.
Yeah.
Because I've spent years yo-yoing.
Yeah.
And yeah, the one thing that's really stopped me from doing that is finding something that works well for me.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the real secret is it's a lifestyle choice, isn't it? We both have been on the same journey of using Naomi. You guys have already met her. You'll see.
Big up.
Yeah, big up Naomi. You will see her to come in other episodes too. But I think for us, she was the only female coach in our gym, so she's very inspiring, she's very empowering, and she talked to me several times, nutrition, do you want to do it, and I was like, nope. Okay. And the honest truth was, at the time I was going through a divorce, I fell off the wagon, I binged alcohol really badly, and I woke up, I rolled out of bed one day and I just thought, something's got to change. And I went to her and I just sort of said, I don't necessarily want to lose lots of weight. I just want to lose a little bit, but I want to be healthier. I want to move better and I want to feel good in myself. And that was the start of the lifestyle change. For me, I don't know about you, but I knew nothing about nutrition. When people talk about diet, I think about salads. Yeah. You can't eat this, you can't do that. So I actually didn't have enough information. Yeah. And I think before I'd started this journey, so I've been on this journey coming up 3, this is like year 3 now. I didn't know enough information, and it was just more about Weight Watchers or Slimming World or,
I didn't even know protein was a thing.
I love this.
I honestly, I did not realise how important it is in your diet, because for me it was always salads, no carbs.
Don't eat those chips.
Yeah, absolutely.
The devil.
Yeah. And so it was so eye-opening for me learning all of this stuff, because it was completely new territory. Even though I've done so many different diets out there, there's not many that I haven't tried.
Wow.
And yet this, like, the most simple little tweaks in the normal foods that I was eating has made the most difference. It's crazy.
Do you feel like, I don't know about you, but in the beginning, so Naomi had me just track, like just write down all the foods for about 6 weeks, all the foods, all the snacks, alcohol, the water intake. Did you find, I was actually quite shocked when she gave me the 6-week feedback. What did you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, so when I first started out, she didn't want me to change a thing. She just said, literally write everything down. And she basically, for me, it was more of like a little tweak at a time. Okay. So after like a couple of weeks, she'd say, right, okay, try having this a little bit less and swapping it for this, or try having this a little bit more, and just making little changes here and there. A big thing for me, which I hadn't really realised the effect of it, was how much diet Pepsi I was drinking. Like,
oh my God, I wasn't expecting you to say that.
It's such a weird thing. But and she was sort of like, right, try and limit it down to just having it 3 days a week and pick your days. It's all about moderation and practicing moderation. Because I think as much as it's 0 calorie, and it is a form of water, people don't realise that it can have other effects on what your intake is. But and it was just little things like that, and she wouldn't say, right, you're not allowed chocolate anymore. She'd say, right, okay, so you had chocolate on that day, or you had a little bit that morning, or breakfast, or whatever it was, but you had a little bit already.
It's all coming out now, Naomi. We're gonna get the secrets now.
Don't at me. But so it was never right, you don't have that anymore. It was always just moderation, and that was really drummed in from the beginning. So then I felt like when the numbers were brought in, and it was the macro and tracking the macros and trying to keep to calories and things like that, it wasn't as big of a shock to the system, and I think that made a massive difference for me.
I love that.
Because whenever I've gone into a diet and it's like, right, you have to just have 1,200 calories, it's sort of like, what the hell? Yeah, and then you just don't.
No. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. It was really funny for me because I was a bit of a smug bitch because I was like, I know I eat my vegetables. I know I eat really good. And she came back to me and she went, yeah, so the alcohol's got to stop. And I was like, and then she went, and you're eating about 3,000 calories, Gloss. 3,000 calories.
Oh my God.
And I was going, yeah, but I go to the gym. She's like, you're not in a calorie deficit, boo.
Yeah. Burn about 400 calories, maybe 5.
But she was also kind with it, you know. She was just like, this is why. She said, I got you to track. She said, because I want you to see, yes, your diet isn't poor, but your portion sizes are out. The way you've got such a misconcept on food. And I was like, okay.
Yes, I think as well, like if you had a good diet, you wouldn't have been unhappy with the way that.
And I wouldn't have needed her, would I? Exactly.
So it's nice to have someone to be able to say, right, these are the things that you need to change, because everyone thinks that they're doing everything right, and they're like, oh, why isn't it working for me? It must be something going on with my metabolism. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
In actual fact, it's just, you're just not doing the right things for you.
No, exactly. And then, like you, she sort of tweaked. She put me in a good calorie deficit. But she did it like very, very gradually. She asked for a lot of feedback, which was really nice because I knew Naomi well. I mean, bless her heart, she was by my side for my divorce, and she was just a phenomenal support system. But having that person to just check in, and if I had a bad day, sometimes I'd be like, look, this is what I've eaten. And she's like, okay, that's okay. So it was nice to have somebody hold you accountable, but it was nice to have somebody, it was almost, sometimes I feel like she was kind of part of my brain. Like she would give me the discipline and keep me on track, but then she'd also give me the love and the support and the nurturing kind of when I needed it too, which I don't think you see a lot of. And the information she gave, like I didn't realise it's actually protein that's going to fill you up, everybody. Complex carbs are important, your fruit and vegetables are important, but it's your protein that's going to fill you up.
Prioritise your protein.
And you know, realistically 120 to 140 grams is really where you should be sitting. There's a fun fact for you.
No, massively.
And you know, and then so we started this, so I was in a calorie deficit. Do you feel like the weight came off quickly, or do you feel like it was slow and then all of a sudden the weight then dropped?
I feel like I haven't really thought about it before, but you're completely right. I think it took a while to get into it, and I think where we weren't making massive changes from the beginning, and because Naomi didn't want to shock my system and put me into like this really unsustainable sort of weight loss situation, it was gradual. And so I think also at that point I was starting my gym journey as well, so my fitness wasn't up to where it was, so I wasn't going to the gym as often, and I think it took a while for it to really kick in
and catch up.
Then I found my rhythm, I found my plan and my routine, and I started upping my gym, like the amount of times I went to the gym, and then it all just kind of went from there, and it all just sort of falling off.
That's how I feel. And I think the information, like there would be so many times that Naomi would say, I don't know, right, well I want more carbs here, or I want you to focus here, but I want you to change this, and I sometimes would just think, you're off your head. Like she said to me, there was a period, I think I mean I'm still doing it now, but for the first 6 to 8 months she was like, I don't want you to have carbs on your lunch break, I don't want you to feel stagnant, I want you to still be mobile, moving. She said, because it's the complex carbs that give you that kind of like I'm tired feeling. So we played around a lot with, obviously I was in a big calorie deficit for a long time, so I want to put that out there, that this wasn't just I just started eating well and it all fell off. Like over this is
a couple of years, journey, isn't it? It's not just months or weeks.
So this is over 2 years, and yes, I have lost 6 stone. That was never the intention. It was never the intention to drop 6 stone. It was just more about, I just wanted to feel a bit comfier in my clothes. But what I realised was, I have enjoyed the process. I've enjoyed learning about what I can eat, how it fuels my body. I'm a massive CrossFit wanker. I absolutely love being back at CrossFit. I'm starting to be able to do movements I've never been able to do before. Bearing in mind, I have done CrossFit before, like when I was a lot younger, like 24. I'm now 34. I'm now a very mature lady. And all of a sudden, like now, I mean, I'm not so much in a calorie deficit, but I said to Naomi, I had a comment last year. I love this person. I'm not going to say who. I love them to death, but they refer to me as, oh, you're looking a bit skinny.
Right.
And that actually broke my heart because that couldn't be furthest from my truth.
Yeah. Especially when you spend so much of your life thinking that you're like the big girl.
The big girl.
You know, and you go through situations where, and even though you lose that weight, you don't ever really stop seeing the big girl that you were.
Yeah.
So then to hear that, and it's almost like, okay, now I'm not being accepted because I've lost too much weight.
I'm too skinny.
So now it's like the complete other end of the spectrum, and it's like, when will people just let me
be me? Yeah. And I think, you know, if you had asked me at 16, 17, now with Now's body and I'm skinny, I would have loved that. Whereas, and I said to this person, I said, I'm not skinny, I'm strong. And amen, sister. and I said to Naomi, I said, right, I want muscle mass now. I want to grow the gains. And she looked at me and then I just said, I've been referred to as skinny and that is not who I am. First of all, I'm very curvy. So, and there is no disrespect to any of the slender girls out there. Good for you, you know, but
it just goes to show that the nutrition journey and fitness journey isn't just about weight loss either.
No.
Because it can be for people that want to gain weight and want to gain muscle mass.
Yes.
It's for everyone.
Yeah. And it's in that safe, controlled environment. When you're talking to your PT and your nutritionist, these are the people that are going to be able to guide you the best and the most. And I think, you know, we were sat here before we recorded this and I was sort of saying, I do get frustrated. I'm sorry to say this, but I do get frustrated when people are like, "Oh my God, you look great. Oh my God," as though I don't have daily battles and daily struggles. I do. I really, really do.
Yeah.
And
it's like you're so lucky.
Yeah, and
I'm not lucky.
No,
I work damn hard for this.
Yeah, I work 5 days a week, and the grind never stops. And you know, we were talking about this really as a lifestyle, isn't it? It's choosing. For me, it's choosing not to binge on alcohol. It's choosing not to have 3 or 4 biscuits that day. And sometimes these are choices that really suck. There are some days where I think, I just want to eat the whole packet. And then I think, but then how are you going to feel after that? And, you know, and I just sort of think, being a woman as well, like, do you feel like society I feel like society really dictates we really should look good, dress good, be smart, intelligent, but also shut our mouths.
Absolutely. And I do think that it's being more addressed now, and I think people are more aware of it. But I think from growing up, it was such a thing that was there in the back of everyone's minds, and it affected everything everyone did. Like when I was at school, I was having slim fast milkshakes instead of food, and my mum would make me lunch, and I'd just put it in the bin, and all sort of things like that. And it's all, I think, it was. I mean, I was very lucky. I wasn't someone that was bullied at school. It wasn't direct, you know, bullying that caused those things. It was just, you know, I had a very happy family life. You know, it wasn't anything like that. It was just, I think, from society and the way that things are kind of put to you subconsciously, that kind of has that effect. And I'd go to the gym and just spend hours doing cardio just to try and looking back at pictures, I had a lovely figure. Do you know what I mean? So, and it's just so much in your head, and I think society has a massive part to play in that.
That's really interesting that you say, and I'm glad that you've like shared this, because you know, I think a lot of the time we turn to, oh well, I had this happening or that went on, and for you it was just actually, no, that's just how I felt, and that's just what society was kind of subconsciously, the subliminal message to you was that. And it makes me sad because I think food is the answer, actually. Not eating is not the answer. And, you know, this is going on from such a young age. And yeah, whereas now when I think about food, and it's funny, when I think about, you know, I religiously batch cook and I plan my meals and I set everything out, breakfast, lunch and dinner and snacks. Because Naomi will check in and she'll say, tell me your plan for the week. Now, obviously, I'm single. So shopping for one person is hard, thank you. So I do tend to have a lot of the same foods. But when I see it laid out and I see I've got X amount of protein here and then I'm going to have that for breakfast and then I'm going to do this, I feel empowered, I feel excited, and actually I feel a lot calmer. In control.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that?
Massively. Yeah, I think it is a big control thing. I think I'm very much one for, I like to know what I'm doing, when I'm doing it. I like to have a plan. I like to have a routine.
Yeah.
And when things change, it throws me off quite a bit. So having that control of being able to plan my food for the week and relying on that is great. But what I also love about batch cooking is because I can get a bit funny with having the same thing all the time. Which I know it's quite different to you.
I will eat the same all the time.
But I just love that I can make a few different meals, stick them in the freezer, and then I can literally just pull out what I fancy that day. And I know that it's within what I can have because I've pre-prepped it.
Yeah. And you know what's gone into it. You know what you've cooked. Like I do also do ready-made meals. I do some of the gym kitchen, you know. Yes, microwavable food is not the best, but also sometimes when you're in a bind, you know, and it's interesting, isn't it? Like when you go out and about, I'm going to be honest, I did go through a period where I used to panic about what I was going to eat, where I was going to eat it, how was I going to stay on track. And what I've actually learned is if we're going to a concert and I'm catching the train, I'll take some snacks and I'll potentially eat beforehand or I'll eat a big dinner. But have you ever found that you've panicked about or you've worried or you've got yourself caught in a bit of a rut with stuff?
To be honest with you, no.
Good.
I feel like I think Naomi has drummed into me for a long time that it's okay if you're not on it 100%, 24/7. It's about balance.
Good.
And it's about, she did introduce to me sort of fairly early on, and it's always kind of been there as well, that if you're being, sometimes it's about looking at your calories across the whole week.
Yeah.
And not just
that day.
And so if you know you've got an event coming up at the weekend and it is going to be hard for you to stay on track, or you don't want to be concerned about tracking all your calories and being a bit sort of anal with it, then you can be, you know, have 50 calories less every day, and then you've got an extra 300 calories to go on that particular event. You know, and it's all about thinking ahead and planning, and I think planning is such a big part of it that it means that that there are times where you cannot be as strict. On it and strict.
Because also, let's be honest, you plan your outfit, you plan to go to work, you plan to get the assignment done, so food is just the same. I like that. I think a really great saying, actually one of the girls at work says this, sometimes we might be having a bit of a mentee bee about something. and my good girl Hannah Banana, big shout out, she'll say something like, one salad isn't going to make you skinny, just like 2 donuts isn't going to make you fat.
So true.
And I looked at her one day and I thought, what the fuck? And then I thought about it and I thought, in the grand scheme of things, no, it doesn't hurt. Yes, I do treat myself. I mean, 2 weekends ago,
love it.
I don't know why I'm whispering. But life is about enjoying it. And I just sort of think, when I look at these last 2 years for me, I think I don't know if I would have got this to this point from anything else.
I fully agree. I've tried so many different things throughout my life, and it's never been so, like, I've never kept the weight off for this long whilst feeling so happy doing it and feeling so comfortable doing it. Like, don't get me wrong, it's hard work and it takes a lot of determination.
Yeah.
But I've never felt deprived. I've
Good.
never felt hungry. I've never felt that hunger that you do on a lot of other diets out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will, and like you said, it's a lifestyle change. Like it's not a diet. So it's something that even when I get happy with where I am,
yes,
I'm always going to be implementing it in my life and my daily choices because it's just completely changed the way I think about food and about exercise.
Well, that's why I think, you know, it's important to do the before but the current.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the other flip of the coin is life happens, you know, you have kids, your priorities change, you change jobs, and it's okay if you gain weight. It's okay if you just decide that you're in a season of, I'm going to go out every weekend and I'm going to go to every single restaurant and live my best life, because life is ultimately for living at the end of the day, isn't it?
100%. Yeah.
And I just think that when you're a woman and you're really unsure, sometimes you just got to go with what you're given. And I don't think it's a bad thing. Do I still love myself if I was 17 stone? Yes. I loved every part of me when I was 17 stone. I was just using the wrong methods to cope with a situation that really just humbled me, you know. And I just sort of think, do I love myself at, I think I'm 11 stone, 75 kg. That's all I remember. Whenever Naomi's like, how old are you? What's your height? What do you weigh? I'm like 170 centimetres and I'm 34 and 75.10 kg. It's like embedded. So right now, currently, I'm on the gains, the muscle, and I have noticed, actually, funnily enough, don't know why
I've recently been through that as well.
There was one day. So she said, on your rest days, I just want you to have this amount. She was like, how are you doing? I was like, I'm starving. And she was like, we're not doing that then.
I had that exact same.
I wasn't starving, everyone. I wasn't. But my body was like, what the shit?
Yeah.
And basically, so I plateaued, which is fine, because I've always lost. Every single month we've weighed in, I've always lost. And the last 3 months I've plateaued. I put on muscle. My vascular fat around my heart's really good. And so I said to her, so I want to build the muscle. But I wanted to go for a little bit of a cut just to get a bit leaner for summer. But here's the weirdest thing. So I don't know about anybody else, but I was obsessed with the scales, what that number said on the scales, right? Except for, I feel like things have changed the last 3 months, because so I've stayed the same weight. I'm still losing inches.
And I think that's what I love about Naomi so much, is she makes you take pictures regularly. And I wouldn't have those pictures that we showed you earlier if it wasn't for that. And she says, have you taken your measurements recently? And when we have a check-in, she weighs you on scales that also tells you your fat percentage and your muscle percent and all these other things. So
it's so interesting, isn't it?
Massively. So even if you're not actually losing weight, and there's a period of time where you may not have lost weight for a few months, you can look at those photos and think, bloody hell, I'm really toning up here, or this is my shape is really changing. Yeah. And I think that's so important because it's quite hard for you to feel demotivated when things aren't changing the way that you want them to. Yeah. When actually they are still. It's just because the scales aren't saying it doesn't mean it's not happening.
And when you view yourself every day, there was a point where I didn't take any photos. And a lot of my friends were like, Laura, you've got quads. I was like, which part is the quad again? and then you've got definition in your arms. So I went around kissing my guns. I know it's weird. And so it was my friends that were noticing the change. One of my favourite coaches, Chris, Oh, I wished I hadn't said that now. I can't edit it out. He was like, have you dropped more weight? I was like, what? He was like, I can see it in your face. And again, bear in mind, these are people that see me daily as well. So, and then I was like, right, I need to try and carry on taking some of these photos. And, you know, and I sent them, there was one week that I sent it to Naomi and I was like, look at this. She was like, I'm resharing this because this is phenomenal. And just the amount of like love and affection from her clients. I didn't even know them. I was walking up to the gym to have a quick weigh-in and they'd be like, you're doing so well. And I'd be like, oh, thanks. Oh, okay, that's nice. And I think as a woman, it's just nice. It's nice to have these types of compliments, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
You're working hard.
Recognised for your hard work. I think that's the thing. It's not necessarily like people just complimenting you saying you look nice. It's when you've put that much effort into to look that way and people are recognising it. It's just like, it's a nice different type of validation, I think.
Yeah. And I think as a woman, do you feel... I feel like I'm in an era where I don't need I don't need you to validate me. Actually, it's quite nice when you do.
Yeah, no, fully. And I don't think it's a bad thing to say that. I think everyone likes a bit of a compliment every so often. And yeah, like you don't need it to survive, and you don't need it to kind of get by and be happy with yourself.
That's because we're independent women.
Yeah,
thank you. We're independent women.
But that doesn't mean to say that it's not nice. Like if you were to be, I don't know, like do a painting, you know, and someone compliments you on it, like it's no different. Really.
It's the same, actually. It's same, isn't it? What would be your best advice if somebody was listening right now? What would you give to a 15-year-old, a 25-year-old, a 35-year-old, and a 45-year-old?
Okay, so across all of those, I would probably say if you're looking to change the way that you are, the way that you look, the way that you feel, any of the above, I'd say find someone that does nutrition. Because no matter if you're looking to gain weight, lose weight, build muscle, you know, whatever it is, even if it's a PT that does nutrition as well, I think it was something that I really underestimated. And actually saying that I actually got it from Slimming World when I did it all these years ago, was you can't outwalk your fork.
Wow.
So you can't, basically, doesn't matter how much exercise you do, if you're not eating well, it's not going to make any difference. And I think it is, I never really understood the impact of that. And like loads of people say, like nutrition is like 90%, and then the amount you go to. So if you're looking to change anything about any of that kind of stuff, I think just go to a nutritionist. It's
the nutrition first and foremost. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I think that actually goes for all of those age ranges. I think 15-year-olds, it's hard to kind of like say it, but just don't listen to social media. Like, get off it. Yeah, it's not worth it.
No. No, it's not.
Yeah, and I think that is probably, and I think it's even more of a thing now compared to when like we were younger.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, listen, I logged into Facebook like once a month.
Yeah.
Now I'm on it daily.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, and it is almost like that hunt for like validation, because before you get that kind of like, you know, self-worth, you are hunting for it and you need it.
Yeah, 100%.
So, and I think, so if you can kind of get off of that, and I know it's hard to say in this world, but if you can kind of take yourself away from that, I feel like you're already 10 steps ahead.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love the fact that I just threw in some age ranges and you were like, it's the same for everyone.
Sorry.
But it is actually. And I just think, just remember that you are beautiful just as you are. And you are enough and you are wholesome. And it's okay if, you know, listen, for the first time in my life, I love my legs. Whichever part that is, I can't remember. But I've never liked my legs. I'm going to be honest, I absolutely hate my back. My back is really broad. But, you know, I did something on the rig which is the, hanging off or something. Somebody went, nice back. And I went, what? They were like, look at all your muscle. I was like, I can't see that chin. But my point is there's always going to be parts of you that you don't love. There's always going to be bad days. There's always going to be something else. And I just think if your diet and your nutrition is on point, that will take away just a little bit of the negativity and the fear and the frustration and the insecurity.
Yeah. And it will put you in control.
Yeah.
Which I think is a big thing for a lot of people. Definitely for me, is feeling in control of it.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, I love that. But anyway, so that was just a little nugget of nutrition and a journey from me and Paige. The blondie to my brownie.
I love that.
And that was 2 cups of tea with us tonight. So we'll see you again soon. Bye. That's cute. That's fucking well cute.